Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma el Gato, the cat that gives you your noche back. And to my left over here is the main man, Jesus Dinero, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, brother, and spicier content than your girl's OnlyFans. What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit. And with that, let's get right into it. So, we have a hell of a main card for UFC Noche. Listen, it's going to be interesting. I do think there's quite a bit of talent on this card. I think there's a number of reasons why it's potentially not doing as good as it should. But listen, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the fights themselves. Let's talk about the first one they wanted to discuss. Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of split on this one. And what I mean by that is I like both dudes. I really do like both dudes. I think Diego Lopez has been looking great. I think a lot of what he's been implementing as of late has been working out phenomenally for him. I think he's definitely got a lot of good highlights that have been standing out within his last few fights. Brian Ortega, not as much. But here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I'm rooting for Brian Ortega. The reason I say not as much is, yes, Brian Ortega did, in fact, win his last fight. But it wasn't looking great. It wasn't looking phenomenal. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I like Brian Ortega as an individual. I like him as a fighter. I think he has a lot of heart, and I think he definitely has all the tools to win. I just feel like Diego Lopez is on a hot streak right now. Now, I say that again, telling you guys I'm rooting for Ortega. I just feel like Lopez is a little bit too on his game right now. Brian Ortega has all the wherewithal, all the ring generalship, all the experience to really surprise us again. I just feel like, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a mental game. I don't know what it is, man. But Brian Ortega has just not been looking as good. And again, yes, he did win his last fight. I just don't think he looked as good as he could have. Not to say he doesn't have the tools. Again, I just mentioned it a second ago. It just, I feel like mentally, maybe I'm leaning a little bit much on the mental game. But mentally, I feel like Diego Lopez is just more locked in than Brian Ortega. But I do hope that Brian Ortega does take this. I think this is going to go to decision. I do hope that Brian Ortega pulls it out. But if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Diego Lopez. What do you think about that, my man?
I think we're actually both on the same side here. T-City has been kind of flip-flopping as of late with his last 4 fights, whereas Diego Lopez has been looking like mad consistent with his last 4 fights, with wins being unanimous decision, and even before that, his last 3 fights were by TKO and KOs respectively. So Diego Lopez is looking phenomenally strong in here. T-City, it's looking And look, again, this isn't to disparage T-City's abilities whatsoever. Again, he's a likable guy, but likability does not translate to in-ring quality. And the fact of the matter is, Diego Lopez has been looking strong and mighty strong as of late. I disagree with where exactly it's going to go as far as where the match goes. I think it's actually going to be by TKO by Diego Lopez. I'm going to say, let's say 3rd round. But yes, I do think we're on the same page. We want Brian Ortega to be looking good, but it's looking a bit unlikely from where I'm standing.
Yeah, listen, that's the number one thing that we always say is we're going to be as fair as possible. Even though we both may want Brian Ortega to win, we're going to give you the facts. And, Diego Lopez has been looking phenomenal lately. Brian Ortega, not so much. But it is what it is. We're calling it how it is. I definitely would not rule out some sort of knockout, some sort of submission by Diego Lopez by any means. And I know to some people that might sound like a stretch in certain cases, but I wouldn't rule it out at all. Yes, Brian Ortega's tough as hell, man. But again, he just has not been looking as good lately. That being said, let's move on to our second fight. This one I'm a little bit more excited for. Alexa Grasso versus Shevchenko. What is it? 3? Alexa Grasso clearly won the first one. It was a draw in the second one. And now here we are. Listen, I do think, I'm going to be honest here. When Alexa Grasso won the first one, she won by submission. So it's not like you can argue that she didn't win. She won. I truly did believe Shevchenko was going to win that fight. So I was astonished, yet happy that she won. Don't get me wrong. I feel like a lot of people felt, and myself included, that she jumped and got a lucky spot at the end of the fight. However, I will say this. When she showed her training video after her fight, she showed it was almost identical that they worked that exact submission. It was crazy. Like when you watch videos next to each other, it's almost like God set it up specifically for her to win the title in that way. So it's crazy. So even though I think for a lot of us we would have called it, not a lucky win because again she choked her out, but a good. She got lucky in a very specific moment. Cool. Seeing her practicing that submission before the fight, to me said, hey, she definitely deserved that win. No luck was involved. That being said, listen, in the rematch, I honestly didn't know who was going to win. I didn't want to call it straight for Alexa Grasso, even though I wanted her to win. Because Shevchenko, as you guys have seen, she's been running through the division for a very, very long time. That being said, that brings us to this fight. Listen, I feel like Alexa Grasso has proven to me enough that she deserves to be the champion. I think Shevchenko has been the ruler of that division for a very, very long time, and I think she has all the tools to definitely beat Grasso in really a number of ways. Knockout, submission, ground game. I mean, a number of ways. Pick and choose. Shevchenko's a beast all around. That being said, I'm definitely rooting for Grasso, and I do think that given the tenacity that she's had, I do think she has enough to win. That being said, listen, I'm 50-50 on this bad boy, man. I can see it going either way. I really wish I could say I believe one has a clear advantage over the other, but I don't. I'm gonna root for Grasso, but I can see it going either way. I always hate when I stand, when you sit on the fence on these types of things. But hey, man, listen, the fact that Grasso won the first one, it was a draw on the second one. That shows you right there how split it is. So I don't want to sit on the fence. I'm going to pick Grasso to win, but I would not at all be surprised if Shevchenko won. What do you think about that, my man?
Listen, man, the one thing critical that everybody, I think it was a twofold thing that happened at the Valentina Shevchenko one, where I think it was both Alexa Grasso both trained for that specific hold and that specific position. However, I do think, I don't know what it was. I don't remember what, I couldn't tell if she was nervous. I couldn't tell if it was just, she was just on an off night or whatever. But you can't talk about that night without talking about the stray spinning heel kick that Shevchenko tried to do that gave Alexa Grasso that advantage to begin with. Because look, let's be honest, it seemed like an out of character thing to do. And normally out of character things like that to do that close for a spinning heel kick. She was like a foot away from her. Like that. My thing is, look, for that to have happened, it had to have been at least a somewhat out of character moment for her to use it at that specific time, or maybe she was nervous. And the fact that she wasn't able to clinch it in the second fight, the fact that it was a draw, and look, you could make the argument of that Shevchenko deserved to win it or that Grasso should have won it. The fact of the matter is, the fact that she wasn't able to do it definitively in the second round means that I think personally there is a mental block there. That being said, I would like to think that maybe she would have cleared up that mental block by this third fight. And I do think that she might have cleared it by now. So that being said, again, I'm split. This is a really close fight, but me personally, and this isn't me trying to be a contrarian, I do think Shevchenko actually is going to clear that mental block. And I do think she's going to win this time. I think it's going to be by decision, it's going to be ironic considering that she said, oh, well, they gave her decision because, of course, it's Noche UFC. We're in Mexico. Of course, they're going to give her Nevada. Of course, they're going to give her the decision. Like, she's their Mexican champion. Like, I do think Irony is gonna have a play here. I do think Valentina Shevchenko is going to win the title by decision in this round.
Listen, man, I'll explain to you what happened in that first fight. Even till to this day, Shevchenko... This is going to sound weird because she's a humble person. Shevchenko's very full of herself. She's very, very cocky. She's very sure of herself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think on that night, that kick that she tried to throw, I know we're talking about, I think she thought she was going to land it. Again, because she was full of herself. I do think she thought she was just going to run through Alexa Grasso like she ran through everybody else. Wasn't her night. She got choked out. So that's what I think happened. I understand what you're saying. Oh, maybe it was a bad night. I don't think it was a bad night. She was doing fine until that moment. I think she thought, I'm gonna do this kick, get this chick off me. I'm gonna go into a knockout. But it didn't happen that way. And the fact that it didn't happen in the second fight, she didn't get a clear win in the second fight, I think it might be further reinforcing that mental block. Like, why can't I beat this chick? Because again, she's not, when I say this, it sounds weird. She's a humble person, but she's very cocky. She's very, very sure of herself. So I think that it's a weird way because she's not like out there boasting and trying to show off to people and blah, blah, but she's very, very sure of herself. So I think these fights where she hasn't been winning have put on block. I think the pressure's on for Shevchenko. Now, don't get me wrong. Shevchenko rises up to the pressure. She meets it. So I'm not saying that it definitely can happen. It absolutely can. We'll see, man. Again, it's too close to call. I know, like I said, I could see it going either way. I can definitely see Shevchenko getting a decision. I'm gonna root for Alexa Grasso. I'm gonna call it an Alexa Grasso win, but we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting for sure. That being said, let's go into the final fight: Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Listen, Merab has the tools, and when I say tools, the wrestling to beat Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley has fought wrestlers before, yes, but they haven't wrestled him. Aljo tried. Didn't work out so great for him. Henry Cejudo tried. Didn't go so great for him. I think maybe the tenacity, maybe the confidence, but not cockiness of Merab is going to help him wrestle. And here's the thing. Here's where I think people are going to be mad. It's going to be if Merab doesn't force his wrestling. It's gonna sound bad. It's gonna be a boring fight. Because everybody wants to go in there. They want to see punches flying. A classic Sean O'Malley fight. But why would you fight that way? If you're Merab, why would you fight Sean O'Malley on his fight? You want to do what Khabib did and wrestle this man into oblivion. Doesn't forget what everyone else says. Just wrestle the man into oblivion. Do you want to win or do you want to look good? Sometimes you can't have them both. In this case, I don't think you can necessarily have them both. If Sean O'Malley wins, he's going to rub it in the face of Aljo. He's going to rub it in the face of Merab because they're good buddies. It's going to be one of those things where, again, Sean O'Malley has already talked about moving up a division potentially to face Ilya. Yeah, I think it's if Merab wants to win, wrestle. Ignore the booze. Forget what people think about you. Forget being popular. Forget all that shit. You can make up for all that later. Wrestle him to the ground. That being said, listen, I'll be honest with you. I actually thought Aljo was going to do better against Sean O'Malley than he did. I think Sean O'Malley absolutely obliterated Aljo. So it's a potential that it can happen here again. I just hope that so here's the thing. Aljo reached out too much and left himself open, and that was the problem. I hope Merab doesn't do the same. I hope he learned from what the loss that his friend took. That being said, listen, I gotta pick somebody here, right? Man, I hate picking on these types of fights because okay, look, you know what? I'm gonna just go Merab. I'm gonna pick Merab. If he wrestles, he theoretically should win. I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Sean O'Malley won again. Shout out to him if he wins. I'm gonna pick Merab. Merab, wrestle that man into oblivion. Do not let him breathe. Wrestle, 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 wrestle. And if he wrestles, it's going to go to, obviously to a decision. What do you think about that, my man?
Look, man, this is going to be a little bit, no, I don't want to say a little bit scathing, but I kind of more disappointed in myself. And I know I don't like saying this. Anybody that's watching knows I'm about to hate the next words I'm about to say. Merab ain't going to take it. Only because Merab did the dumb thing. And even Dana said he did the dumbest thing possible. I don't know what it is with our fighters, but they do the dumbest things possible. Merab had put it on Instagram, put it out that he was in training camp and he suffered a cut above his left eye, or was it right eye? Couldn't remember which eye it was. It was the exact trajectory that Sean O'Malley can give, perfectly square on the chin. That dreaded hook that Sean O'Malley likes to give. Merab just gave him a perfect target, and he broadcasted it. Yeah. And there was the alleged rumor of a staph infection that Merab had suffered this week. Again, that was a bit of a rumor. That was a legend. I don't know for sure. But, look, he's had 2 cursed afflictions already going into this fight. One of them he proudly broadcast. For whatever reason, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he basically just gave Sean O'Malley a big target. And look, we talk about Merab. Merab is a likable person. His memes got the salsa. Again, cool dude. Love the dude. Funny. Likability, salsa. That don't translate in the ring 100%. You can be the most likable person in the world. I love Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen got the sauce outside. Inside the ring, it's flip-flops. I think at the end of the day, just like Chael Sonnen, Sean O'Malley's not gonna let him get close. He's not gonna let him get to wrestling. He's gonna have him fight his way. And again, he's got a big target. He knows where to work. As much as it pains me, Merab, he's a likable guy. I like him. He's an honorary Mexican. Love the dude. He's not going to be champion. I don't like saying that, but I got to be honest with myself, and I got to call it like it is.
You know what? That's fair, man. To be honest with you, you just reminded me of the cut that he got. And I do know, obviously, if Sean O'Malley targets that, which he should, and Merab does start bleeding all over the place, it's going to make it hard for him to wrestle because he's not going to be able to see as well. You're completely right. But I want to believe. That the man is going to pull it off, so I'm going to stay with my pick. Listen, it's going to be an interesting card one way or the other. There's a lot to be said about the card itself and the way that Dana has been dealing with it, but that's going to be in a separate video. It'll be interesting. Look, I'm not going to tell you to tune in. The only reason I'm not going to tell you to tune in is here's why. We all know UFC Noche is competing with somebody else. A video that we just did a second ago. You guys pick. What you want to watch. Both cards are decent. And it's not even just the main event in boxing that's decent. The actual card itself is decent. So it's going to be tough. We're going to be watching both. But it's going to be tough. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.